Hello, my name is Alan. Today, we're going to do a scene breakdown where we take a certain scene and view it through the lens of whatever respective department in the film world that applies to it. Today, we're going to be viewing a scene from Eyes Wide Shut. Of directing. So let's get into it. Eyes Wide Shut was Stanley Kubrick's last film. I think it still holds the record for the longest production ever. I think it took like 2 years. It was all filmed in London, although the setting is actually New York City in the movie. But it's alleged that Nicole Kidman's children at the time actually developed a British accent because they were, in school and being tutored and stuff in London for so long throughout the production. And Stanley Kubrick died of heart problem or heart attack. I don't know. He died right around when the movie was released. And there's a lot of conspiracy around that. So the scene we're going to look at today is where Dr. Bill Hartford, played by Tom Cruise, is being followed through the streets of New York. And there's just such a dreamlike quality to this whole movie. And that's very intentional. So let's start with this scene and see what we get into through the lens of directing. So already, we're establishing this with a really wide shot, and it's also from high up, if you notice. A lot of times in directing, if you're wanting to communicate that the character feels small or alone, you would use a wide or extreme wide shot in order to give that feeling to the audience, right? Because that is not necessarily in script. And this is what delineates directing from writing, right? What the line was in this script was probably...
Editing Alan here. I found the script online, and this entire scene that I'm breaking down, it's this. This is it. Just this one little few lines is the entire 3-minute scene. So that tells you again how much of an art directing is. It's not all in the script.
That might be the line that introduces the scene. But Stanley Kubrick is the one who decided in tandem with the cinematographer, all right, we're going to, the scene, when we open on this scene, it's going to be that initial shot of extreme wide, we're high up, we see Bill's alone, okay? And then we join him here on the street. And also, I don't know if Jocelyn Pook did the entire score. I know she was responsible for The Masked Ball, where it's reversed monk, chanting. Where it has that kind of almost demonic, devilish feel, or it's just very unsettling. But this score, this piano score in this scene, and throughout the whole movie, is so unsettling. This movie is deemed as a drama, but I would argue that Eyes Wide Shut is a horror film. To me, it is one of the most unsettling movies I've ever watched. It raises the hair on the back of my neck. It gives me goosebumps. It is very, very, very disturbing. I think it's my favorite work from Stanley Kubrick. So let's continue. He looks over his shoulder and sees someone's trailing him on the opposite sidewalk. The score takes an even downcast timbre. Okay, I'm going to rewind a second because I think there's something on that wall. This is one thing. If you want to be a director, watch Eyes Wide Shut. This is Stanley Kubrick's masterpiece. He's a phenomenal director, but I mean, this is a phenomenal example of what A+ directing is. I've seen this film 2 or 3 times, And you're going to catch something new every time in terms of symbolism, in terms of things that are in the set that are really hard to notice unless you stop or pause or zoom in. And I just want to see what's here on this wall. There we go. I paused it. Findings. Okay, so on the wall, in vertical text, there's the word findings. Let me see, Findings. Yeah, findings. So this is intentional, okay? Anything you see on, and also it looks like one of those shutter garage rollers where, you know, a business place, a rolling shutter door, that's what I think they're called. And, you know, when the shop opens in the morning, they roll it closed. I highly doubt that and by the way, this is not filmed in New York. It's all filmed in London. And I don't know if it was all in the streets of London, but there might have been some places that were sets like
Okay, it is confirmed. Yes, all of these London streets exterior shots were filmed at Pinewood Studios in Ivor Heath, Buckinghamshire. Okay. And here is what someone says about these streets. When the production moved onto the highly detailed Manhattan Street sets at Pinewood, which were built by a production design crew headed by Les Tompkins and Roy Walker, 4 blocks worth of facades were built and then dressed with street signs and other authentic items that were shipped in from New York City itself. The facades were periodically redressed depending upon the scene at hand. Like, I tried to Google this like findings on the wall in this scene, and I didn't find anything. For these scene breakdowns, I want to just tell you, the viewer, what I'm observing. I don't want to necessarily like go in beforehand and read a bunch of, you know, analyses of this scene or movie and then just regurgitate that. I just want to break it down with what I'm seeing. And this is one that I caught, and I have not caught this before. I've seen this movie like 3 times, and I have not seen this findings in vertical text. But what this tells me, being that it is a set, is that this was intentional. This is not like, you know, set designers don't leave entire words on the background of a rolling shutter for no reason. This is not like a Game of Thrones Starbucks cup, you know, slip up. This is very intentional. These are not real businesses. These are facades of fake businesses meant to look like New York City. And this findings is 100% intentional. And that's what I wanted to confirm by looking this up.
The whole plot of this movie is that, you know, Nicole Kidman, his wife's character, has sex dreams about another man, and he feels kind of smited by this, and he ends up by chance, you know, running into a pianist who he pushes to go to this exclusive party, you know, and gets in, right? And he's like digging deeper into the seedy underbelly of New York, of the rich, of the elite, and he's pushing and prodding in areas where he should not go. And so, you know, from a directorial standpoint, the word findings vertically as we pass, most people are going to miss it. But to me, this is another added layer of symbolism of, you know, Bill is discovering things that maybe he doesn't want to or shouldn't discover, you know, like he's poking around where he shouldn't, and maybe he's kind of scared or not liking what he's finding, right? Or what he will find. And again, this is directing, right? This is what directing is. So he knows he's being followed. Looks over his shoulder again. Guy's taking a steady pace. You know, we have cars going by. See that kind of eerie juxtaposition of the Christmas lights. You know, it's happy, it's cheery, it's Christmas, but so the guy turns the corner, and it's very clear now that this is not an accident. He's being followed purposefully, right? I also just want to take note of the costume design in the scene for the guy following him. You know, it's very nondescript, but you can tell by the quality of the trench coat and just the sound of the shoes clopping on the sidewalk that this person, you know, is either from the upper echelon or they're being employed or paid by someone to look nondescript, but they still, you can tell by the quality of what he's wearing that he might be somehow tied to this elite club that Tom has been wheedling his way into. Yeah, so Bill's uncomfortable. He's hailing for a taxi right now. And he doesn't get the taxis, and now he's kind of looking different streets like, okay, how am I going to get out of this if this worsens or continues? And we have a taxi coming up on the opposite street. He's like, okay, here's my way out. I'm going to cross. Even if someone blows their horn at me, I'm going to get across here, get in this taxi, and avoid this situation.
Taxi! Uploading!
Tom he's playing a character now who's very unsettled, out of service. The taxi's not going to take him anywhere. He's still on foot, and this guy's clearly following him. All right. Y'all, it literally gives me goosebumps when I watch the scene because, like, in tandem with the score and what's going on, it's so unsettling just knowing that this is someone deliberately following you. And I think the production as a whole and Stanley's vision, it comes together so phenomenally with just bristling the hairs in the back of your neck and giving you goosebumps and just making you feel uncomfortable, so tense. I also love the power dynamic in this scene. Obviously, they're at equal levels, so there's no, height difference with the cameras. A lot of times directors will do this when two characters are having a conversation in blocking. The character who's perceived to have a stronger power or authority in the power dynamic, a lot of times directors will film at certain angles to create this power imbalance on the screen. Again, this is not in the script. This is why directing is its own art. Directing is its own art because these things, a lot of times, are not necessarily in the script. And it's almost like who's going to break first, right? They're both standing still, and the piano is hitting that shrill note, and it's like, okay, who's breaking? Who's breaking? Who's going to be the one to move next? Because they're both standing still. And Tom's trying to act casual, like, oh, I'm going to pick up a newspaper. Ugh. All right, I'm going to freeze right here. This is very deliberate direction, okay? Some people might say, oh, it's so on the nose, whatever. No, it's a masterclass in directing. The man who's been following him for the past 2 minutes, as he stops at the corner to look at Tom one-on-one, same angle, right? In the background, or really foreground, but right here, dead center in the scene, we have a stop sign. This is deliberate. This is so symbolic and coded in the plot of the film, which is Bill is nosing around where he shouldn't. He should not be going into this secret society of elite men who are, he's not welcome. He's not welcome, and he's going in places where he should not be. And this is directorial symbolism from the scene to be passed on to the character of Bill, and it's a loud, blaring message of stop. You are going in an area, in a direction where you should not go. You should not have gone to the party. You should not have done these things. Amazing direction. If you can do this as a director and put stuff in the background that conveys part of the theme or the plot of what your character's facing, do it. This is why the Oscars exist. This is why, these different art forms within film exist, because they are art forms. You are conveying something without words from the script to the viewer. This is the art of directing, all right? It might seem deliberate, but it's I love it. Chef's kiss. And the Easter egg is even better, okay? Hold your breath here for this Easter egg. You know, Tom is like, you know, there's no shadow of a doubt now. He's like, shit, this is really deliberate. And I think he tried to act casual when he got the paper to make it seem like, oh, it was intentional that I wound up in our walking. I wound up here at the newspaper stand. Oh, I'm gonna, and probably he feels a comfort at the fact there's someone working in this newspaper stall, right? Let's see if we can see it, the Easter egg. The guy walks off. Okay, if you pause and zoom and rotate this, the newspaper says, "Lucky to be alive." The newspaper headline, you can actually see the top word where Tom is holding it, where it says "lucky." But I think they, you know, the camera pans a little bit where you can see it a little more clearly. If I can, I'll put that juxtaposed here on the screen. But the headline in all bold black letters, all caps, says "Lucky to be alive." This is a directorial Easter egg, and this film is full of them. I implore you, if you want to be a director, watch Eyes Wide Shut. You know, try to view films and watch movies through the eyes of an artist, through the eyes of someone who wants to be a part of this industry, right? And once you start doing this, and once you get the base learning of the film world and what the different roles do and how they function, you will watch these movies with that eye where you're always scanning the background, you're always looking at the different aspects of the performance, of the set design, of the writing, the dialogue, all the different things. And this directorial Easter egg is, again, chef's kiss. It might seem on the nose, but I love the fact that it says "Lucky to be alive" on this headline. So Tom takes one last look over his shoulder, and he seems to be free and clear in the moment, and then goes back into the warmth and comfort of wherever he walks into. Maybe that's his home. I can't remember what scene's next. But you guys, what do you think of Eyes Wide Shut? What do you think of my breakdown of this scene? Also, give me suggestions in the comments of what other scenes that you want me to break down. I'm going to go through some of my favorite films. I plan on doing a certain scene from The Holdovers soon. But in general, like, I love this kind of stuff. I love breaking down things, tearing them apart through the lens of the respective roles of the artists in the film production, right? That's today's breakdown. We'll see you on the next one. Please let me know what you want me to break down next, or what category as well: writing, acting, scoring, sound design. I will do a series for each. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.